So here is what, in my experience, a person may want to continue doing or may want to do to continue moving towards financial freedom while using this perceived challenge, which is family, family support, family opinions, family beliefs, and everything that we just talked about as a strength.
Hello and welcome to the Money Mindset Show, the place where we help female entrepreneurs to transform their mind so that they can achieve financial success in the least amount of time. Here, we talk about subconscious mind, we talk about money mindset shifts, money mindset blocks, a strategy so that you can bypass your own money mindset and increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business. On this podcast, our unique goal is for you to walk away with a different perspective and with a different set of thoughts, beliefs, and mindset that helps you in your journey to achieve financial success.
Ever felt like your journey to financial freedom through your business is an endless effort of trying to feel like an old piggy bank? Like no matter how much you try, it is never enough to achieve your dreams? Well, you're not alone. And this is because financial trauma. Now take our quiz to uncover which of the four type of financial traumas as an entrepreneur are blocking your path to real financial freedom and start transforming your business into the powerful tool for financial independence you have always dreamed of. Go to themoneymindset.com/quiz. You want to take the quiz right now because the longer that you wait is the longer that you sabotage your efforts every day with your business towards financial freedom. Discover how to turn all of those efforts into success today. Just go to themoneymindset.com/quiz. In my perspective, with all of these years on finances and being a Latina girl, I can understand and I know how the embodiment of this perspective, of this quote unquote responsibility, this pressure, whatever you want to call it, can affect the path towards financial freedom. Our culture, like many others that don't necessarily are Latinos but are close to family, like East Europeans, and yes, we have a lot in common when it comes to culture with the East Europeans. You cannot imagine how much commonalities I have found during this time. But the culture that values family so much, that is not the individualistic culture like perhaps United States or the UK, that is more the individual, but other cultures like the Asian, Latinos, East Europeans that value the sense of family so much, and it's like it's only normal for us to value family in a personal level as well as in business levels. We also create this sense of unspoken or sometimes spoken obligations to provide for them, to provide when we are in a better position, quote unquote, better position, or to provide the justifications and reasoning behind our actions as well. So to certain step, a lot more than those other cultures that we are getting a lot of financial information from. So this is such an interesting topic because it is way different than what the majority of narratives and what the majority of learnings, experiences, and teaches are coming from. Some even will refer to these family-centered cultures or highly valued family cultures as a little bit toxic, just like cut it off or whatever. But it just simply doesn't work. But it is true that for someone like me, I hold very high the opinion of my family. I mean that you will see me talking with my mom and my dad every day on the phone. Like you will see how the conversation, even when I'm here in the other side of the world, in the continent, other continent, they still come to play into the table it from a different perspective, of course. So how you will, if you know me throughout my whole life, you will see how those narratives, family narratives, family interactions also affected it. The way that I grew up with money, the way I saw money, also affected my money decisions back on the day when I had to do a deep rooted, um, getting out of that place that I didn't want to be in. So, is there any way I can be okay with everybody? And that was my thought process back then. And it's a lot of the thought processes of my clients right now as well. Is there any way that you or I can be okay, like me as the guinea pig of this episode, with everybody, but while expanding and growing towards financial freedom? And you may think that these narratives on my head, or these beliefs, or this annoying roommate, like I like to call it, will disappear after all of the things that I have done in my money mindset, in cleaning up financial trauma, on really being intentional, filtering out things. Although I speak to my family every day, it's like a filtered conversation. I'm actively filtering this conversation every single time because there are some things that once you are out of it, once the trauma is clear, once that you see through other glasses, it's impossible for you to subscribe to that way of thinking again. So you just filter out. But you may think that these things that come up, this sense of obligation, this sense of, oh, I want them to be on board and to understand me, disappears at some point. But what I have experienced is that it has so many layers that are as deep as the 29 years that I've been in place on this earth. So I can only imagine how much information that relates, like how much information my subconscious have stored that I would probably see or notice whenever I set a new goal or whenever I set a different track for me, for my business. Whenever I want to see something different happening, that's when they're going to trigger. Because as of right now, if it hasn't been triggered, it's because it has served me. Just remember this: everything that you are experiencing, everything that is happening with money, if it is not bothering you, if it is not coming up to the surface, is because it's supporting you in a certain level. It's part of your survival because money is pretty much a survival thing. So as long as you want the same outcomes, just stick to what you're doing now, and it should be fine, right? But once you want to change, once you want to see something different, that's when the things get interesting. Just like it happened around November last year when I decided to increase the financial goal of my business. And what I'm about to share, it only represents one experience of the many ways that this can show up. But honoring that we are still relative new to the year to 2024, I want to tackle the earning and planning point of view of what financial freedom through the family lens can be. But just know that this is just one experience. Validate your experience. Come and share with me your experience at the Money Mindset Expert, or send us an email at hello@themoneymindset.hub.com, because I cannot stress this enough. It can show up in so many different ways. And it will show up in so many different ways, as deep as the layers that have your subconscious mind, all the information is stored. So just to put that out there. So in November last year, when I decided to increase the financial goal of my business, this of what I can only call fear, because it felt like literally The literally overthinking and being on my head all the time took completely over me. Like the reasoning that had me stuck was that people who hit this type of goals, the one that I drove for my business for 2024 back in November, are this type of people. It was just like the people that says they're gonna make blah 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 are these type of people. And it wasn't just a judgment, because of course it came as a judgment, but also it was a lot of fear related to it. And almost without stopping the next thought, it just continued in a ripple like, ah, imagine what this person will say once they know that you are this type of person. Imagine what this person is going to do or think or whatever once they know that you are the person making this amount, that you are the person saying that she's going to hit this amount. It was, yeah, it was like all of the narratives coming at once. And yep, this person happened to be family. Every time that I say imagine, like imagine this person saying, like once they know this is gonna happen, imagine this person saying, yeah, they all happen to be family. They all happen to be close friends as well. Like this, the sound of my voice, the sound of my head. What am I trying to say here? The voice on my head and the voice on like how it sounded like a family member or a friend, a close friend as well. And the image that came to mind was all about family interactions, uh, friends' interactions, reactions, and ways of doing. It was so interesting. But this is not isolated. When we look at financial freedom process, we see them as part of the different stages that I have shared with you throughout these last episodes. Stage number one, we need to completely revamp certain point of views and help mind to zoom out from all perspective to support the new ways that go with financial freedom, that financial freedom that we have set up for ourselves. And those perspectives relates to identity. So when you're doing, especially I call this in stage number one because it's when you are building your business, when you're building the basis, when you are creating everything for this machine to work as the money making machine with or without you. That's when the most perspective needs to change. That's when the new beliefs come in. That is when the most point of view shifting and jumping and changing is coming through. And those perspectives are related to identity. Who am I? What is the type of person that I am, right? So, identity is who you are as a person, who Alejandra is. And guess what? Mostly what shapes, mostly who you are, your identity. Of course, where you come from and the people that you can relate to, right? Like a lot, and you hear me when I open up this episode saying as an Afro Latina, that's my identity. If I were not coming from a Latin country, if I didn't refer to myself as an Afro, it wouldn't be my identity, but it is. I am an Afro Latina, and that has shaped a lot of my point of view and way of seeing money, right? And it is all because where I'm come from and the people that I can relate to. So long story, very short. In November, when all of these triggers happened, I turned to my RRT community because your girl needed to clear some deep trauma. To clear some of those moments, mine was playing out like an old disc to release and adapt these new goals from paper to identity. So here's the first thing that I did and that I want to highlight so that it can support you on your own journey. I didn't change my goal. It was a fearful freaking moment. And if I think about this, which it's funny now that I'm saying it because the amount that I put, it's something that I'm used to in a different currency. So I'm going to do a whole episode about this because it is so interesting how mind works. It's not just about the saying like 100,000, it's saying $100,000, which plays out, which is another language thing that has to do with subconscious that I'm not going to get into it, but I'm probably going to do a whole episode because the shoe just dropped. Okay. So back to the story of family and financial freedom. Long story short, I turned to the RRT community to clear some of those moments. Mine was playing out because it was on repeat. It was like the same voice, the same type of narratives, the same fear, but I did not change my goal. The one thing that stayed consistent, even though the what came out was a fearful thing, was better for me to lower, was better for me to look other way according to my subconscious. I did not move that, and I am not going to move it because that is the one thing that I can objectively think about, not having anything in between, any narratives, any trauma, anything to clear up in between. That number is the number that is appealing and brings me pleasure right now. So, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to stick to that number, regardless of what can happen, right? So, but once I took that decision, mine was like, like, of course you remember because you're probably almost my same age or a little bit older than me to know the disc. I used to have this disc. I remember my first CD was from Juanes, a Colombian singer, and Shakira. And I played them so much that they ended up like having, you know, these strides, or I don't know how you say that, but they ended up, playing so much that they got used, and then they didn't play well. The singer will be like, and they just get that song didn't complete. Well, that's how the things played out on my mind when I set these goals. Like it was the same person coming to my head, it was the same narratives, it was the same moments, it was the same thing, and going on and on and on, and it just didn't stop. So here's what I want to say from the financial freedom perspective. This is such a unique thing for you that you may encounter so many changes of perspectives that you will want to adapt in order to get to your goal, to whatever you have set up for your business and for yourself. And you need to clear these opinions that sometimes they are just mind creations, because I cannot tell you that what my mind is playing out, it's a real thing that somebody told me. In fact, I don't think it's real at all. It's my interpretation of what they will say according to my point of view. So it's not real, it's a mind creation conversation. And it needs to be clear. And you need to clear as well these concerns to not get on the way of you following the financial freedom path, which is what I did. I needed to clear myself from all of that so that I increase my creativity, because it was taking so much space on my head, so much energy. Every time that I sat down to kind of plan, this is the year when I am mastering planning for obvious reasons. I am going to take like 4 months off, and everything will be laying on systems. I mean, this is the moment where planning and creativity, I am laying 100% on them. So I needed to clear all of these narratives that came every time that I was going to sit down and plan something, and came every time that I was going to create something, to kind of free myself from that and access 100% to my creativity. I couldn't focus 100% on the most important currency of entrepreneurship, that in my opinion, it's creativity. When you have access to creativity, you can observe, you can gain the feedback from your offers, you can align with them better, you can create the bridges it needs to create and share so that it retains clients or it attracts new clients. I mean, I truly believe creativity is what like moves the needle. So I needed to access to that, and the decision was very easy. I can access to that once I clear this. So guess what I did? I cleared that because I get family is important and you hold it close to why you also started this business in the first place. Maybe you are the one to want to be the breadwinner for your house. Maybe you are the one who wants to see a different way of living in your family. You are the one who has taken the first step to say, you know what, I'm going for this same financial freedom that looks like this and that for me. And that includes stepping away from what my whole family, husband, kids, or mom, dad, siblings, or whatever your family structure is, looks like. So here is what, in my experience, a person may want to continue doing or may want to do to continue moving towards financial freedom while using this perceived challenge, which is family, family support, family opinions, family beliefs, and everything that we just talked about as a strength. The number one thing is clear the way mind is processing this information so that you can see clearly where you stand and what to do to continue the process. And don't let any narrative to come in the way. So once I turn into my RRT community, and this point, I personally, and with all of my clients as well, I use RRT. For this, in all of my sessions, in all of my programs, I use RRT at different modalities, not only RRT, to get this done. But you can use whatever you want. You can use whatever has worked for you. This is what has worked for me and what I apply inside of the Money Mindset Hub through all of my programs and clients and what has worked for them. And once I turn into my own RRT community to clear this trauma, I remember so clearly it was Andreas, one of the RRT members, who support me to get over this. And it was, I think it was a Thursday night, and we sat down, and I was like, Andreas, I can't. I don't know why this is coming from. I don't know where is it coming from. We did the whole RRT process, and then when I look back at it, I'm like, oh, that's so silly. Like, yeah, of course I was seeing it that way. Because here is the thing with RRT, you don't forget that happened because that's not the idea of it. You neutralize the emotion that is triggering different way of mind processing the information. You see it clearly, and now you can take different decisions. For as long as your processing mind is processing information from that point of view, that emotionally charged point of view, then the outcome is gonna be the same. So if you clear that, the outcome is different. Suddenly it becomes more like, oh, now I see it. It's like you were in a sauna with a lot of steam and you enter with glasses so you couldn't see. And once you are out of the sauna, you have two decisions to clear. You wait until the steam is gone and your glasses are clear again, like, oh, I can see. Or you take them off once you are out of the room and say, okay, I see much better, right? So seeing clearly is the first step. I'm not going to tell you again how much this helped me, but it truly made the difference. It truly made the difference for the first 23 days of 2024, which is when I'm recording this episode. Even um, because the session we had it, so I got triggered in November, I went over December, and the session we had it the last week of December. And that was all it. Because I'm such a different person and point of view now. Okay. Number two, increase the volume on your services or products. And with this, I mean, go deeper into your craft. When I say deeper, I, I mean, why do you do it? How do you do it? for who you are doing it, because this will be essential for the third thing I have saved for you. And many will underestimate this. But when you get, and I think I talk about this in other episode as we were going through the financial freedom system, but listen, there is nothing more magnetic and attractive than somebody that speaks so confidently and so sexy and so relatable about what they do, that somebody that has clear what they do, how they do it, for who they do it. If you think about these great speakers, the first thing that you would notice is that they have told you exactly what they do and why they do it. And that's why probably you have fallen in love with their speeches, with the way of thinking, with the way of working, or whatever else. So fall in love and go deeper and increase the volume of your services. You increase that value by going deeper and knowing and understanding and filling up those gaps for your audience. If you are not paying attention to this specific falling in love with your craft, what is going to happen is that you clear the trauma, and then when it's time to, okay, now I see clear how I'm gonna do it, a big blank comes in, and then these all narratives that you may be holding from your family, these all things that, oh, I don't have anybody to talk about this, or to pivot ideas or things like that, will have a wall to stick, because you don't have like your wall, let's put it that way, your own creative wall to pivot ideas. What you do when you fall in love with your offers and you increase your value is that you create that wall for yourself. Like the way I see it now is that when I'm falling in love with the new system that I've been creating, I see it and I'm like, okay, this is my wall, this is my system. And every time I have ideas and creativity comes, it's like, oh, I can do this with that. The reason why I can do this with that is because of that. The reason why I can do that is because I'm serving this. And all of these things just have a normal and natural way to pivot. So there you go. And number three, see how your family or whoever mind is entertaining probably is not your ideal client. And that's why it's so important that you get very clear on who you are doing this for. Listen, they won't buy from you, probably. They will have a limited interaction with your business. Therefore, they can only talk, if anything at all. If they can say anything at all, which I doubt it because most of these are my narratives, but if they could say anything at all, it's only about you as the person they used to know and not the business owner. And I say they used to know because the moment that you took this decision, the moment that you are not seeing eye to eye, the moment that you kind of triggered those judgments from them, is because they don't know who you are anymore. They have no idea the path that you're walking in, and it's not their right to know, or what it's not like the obligation to know. But then just keep in mind that if anything, they only are talking about you as the person that they used to know, and you are not that person anymore. So every sense of responsibility, every sense of frustration because family issues can be really minimized when you see through the lens of this is the person that they used to know, but I'm not longer that person. And I can understand that. I don't share it, but I can understand that, right? And with that perspective in mind, I am very self critical. And I ask myself, is someone else, if it wasn't this person that is coming to my mind, but it was somebody else telling me this exactly, like this, meaning exactly what is coming to mind, that is creating this fear and that is creating all of this emotional roller coaster. If it was somebody else telling me this or doing this to me, how would I react? If it was the person that just passed by that didn't know me before and it doesn't know me now, it just happens to pass by, how will I react? Would it bother me? Yeah, if I were called this but someone else, do I still think this is important? Do I still think that this is about me? Or it's just about them and them sharing their perspective and opinions and I couldn't care less? So if it is only my opinion, if it is only um, my projection, I can only understand that there is their projection as well and their opinion, and then I get to move forward. Everything loses the level of priority and importance once you take it out of that emotional context and you put it into, if this was somebody else, would I allow it to be talking that way? No. Would I believe it? No. Would it be affected or would be a reflection of what they're doing or saying about it? It will be on them. So why would I spend my energy on this? The energy that I'm spending on this will be energy that will be fueling my creativity. And that's far more way useful for your financial freedom than entertaining these other concepts. And that's why point number one on clearing financial trauma, it's essential for this. Okay, I want to leave you with saying that go to themoneymindset.hub.com to download the secret audio series where I walk you to the financial freedom process, Money Unleash. And you can get it now and see what the steps by steps that you need to make or that you may want to take to get to that financial freedom as a business owner now.
Okay, but before I let you go, did you know that you have a space where your money mindset work is made extra simple so that you can increase your income, better your relationship with money, and grow your business in such a simple and easy way? Go to themoneymindset.hub.com and choose your path and start making those changes easily and effortlessly. That is themoneymindset.hub.com. Ahora sí, Wealthy Soul, if you love this episode, don't forget to leave a review down below. It will help me to help more wealthy souls to transfer their money mindset.